Hi, my name's Mark. I'm the head chef at a Thai restaurant called Somsa, and today we're going to be going through a curry called Gaeng Khae. It's a northern Thai curry using lots of different herbs, vegetables and flowers. We're going to put rabbit in it today. It can also be a sort of more vegetarian version. In terms of umami strong ingredients, we're going to have shrimp paste, some pla and some fish sauce. For the vegetarian version, you could be using these fermented soybean cakes called tua now. The curry paste is quite a simple, straightforward one. We just have some shallots, some Thai garlic, some small chilies called prickly new, galangal, lemongrass, coriander root. In this one with the rabbit, we're going to be using shrimp paste, but as I mentioned before, you could use tua now if you wanted to go vegetarian. There's also some dried soaked chilies that's going to be in here for a little bit of extra heat. So just starting from some of the harder ingredients and working through to the softer ingredients. One of the things that would be typically done in Thailand for this curry, they would use a type of wood called sakan, which has quite an astringent, slightly spicy, peppery kind of taste. It's obviously really hard for us to get that in London, even hard to get it in Bangkok. It's more of a northern Thai sort of thing. So we're going to use a little bit of a northern Thai spice called makwem, which is similar to sort of Sichuan pepper, has a kind of numbing sort of flavor, and also some dried chili and some black pepper to kind of just make that flavor again. Okay, so just over there. So we're going to start this curry over a low heat. Just frying out the paste until it's nice and fragrant, and then we've got both some rabbit leg and loin. I've minced the leg up a little bit and we'll cook that out with the paste, and the loin we'll add in a little bit later when there's a bit more broth and stock and stuff like that in there.
And is rabbit quite a typical Thai ingredient?
Yeah, so I think like this one you would find with like a lot more sort of wild meats. Can also work with some seafood, like slightly meatier things like snails and stuff like that, that are kind of like spongy and take on a lot of flavour. But yeah, rabbit works really well with this. It can be chicken as well. Any like game birds in the UK works really well with that kind of stuff.
As soon as that paste hit the pan, it just smelled umami and delicious.
So we're sort of smelling as we go for the ingredients that are in there, and as you get through the sort of slightly fresher ingredients, we'll start to get through your more fibrous ingredients like galangal, lemongrass, and dried chilies. Once you sort of start to smell them, you know that your paste has kind of got most of the way cooked.
Nice. And what sort of oil do you use?
So we do a lot of like deep fried shallots and deep fried garlic here. Anything that we've done that with, we'll use that oil just as a little bit of extra flavour in all of our sort of stir fries and curries.
Gotcha.
So we've just fried off that leg meat a little bit in the paste, added a touch of stock, and then we're going to start adding our first seasonings, which is some fish sauce.
So this is our second umami element after the shrimp paste, which went into the paste, right?
That's right.
And that's what I love about these umami seasonings, is that you're not having to use lots of protein, but you're getting all of that kind of flavour and oomph that we associate with, like, you know, a nice well-cooked steak. And you just don't need all of that protein. You can get that from this other sauce.
Yeah, it'd be great to see, you know, as we were talking about before, the way the world's going with people eating a bit less of less proteins and thinking a bit more about where their food comes from. If there's still sort of some protein-based umami-packed ingredients that people are willing to use in their diet, plus a lot of vegetables, they'll be able to make some really delicious food. That's a diet that we need to create. Some sort of vegetarian plus umami.
Totally. And actually, you see that in a lot of peasant cuisines, essentially all over the world, simply because meat is always expensive. So you kind of see people relying on those tricks of the trade. Anyway.
Getting those full flavours into their food. So we're just adding some herbs and vegetables and flowers and stuff here. We're going to have some pea aubergines, some sesabina flowers, some wild garlic, some oyster mushrooms. Also got some Gaeng flowers.
What are these guys?
These are called Gaeng. They have a slightly sort of like fresh pea kind of flavour. They grow in like a sort of like a creeper vine. There's also going to be some of these which I've soaked in water. They're called dok niao. They're like a dried sort of centre of the flower from the cotton tree.
So the idea of the umami flavour being boosted by those ribonucleotides A great example of this is with the mushrooms here. So we have these IMP and GMP. These are the ribonucleotides. It doesn't matter so much exactly what the compounds are, but they're found in things like oysters or shellfish or meat. And so those are going to pair with the glutamates that we've got in our umami seasonings and amplify that sense of umami, that flavor bomb, even further. So that's what the mushrooms are doing in this dish.
Great.
Is this one like Cavolo Nero?
Yeah, so Cavolo Nero. One of the other things that's really important is this dish is what we refer to as bitter leaf. Slightly different to like the Indian bitter leaf, but it's got a like nice sort of bitter flavor, and it's a leaf that's always finishing off this curry.
So it's not crazy bitter actually, but you have that tannin and that sort of structure,
Yeah.
like with the red wine at the end.
Also some snake beans, the last two. There's going to be some spring onion and some long leaf coriander.
Nice.
So we'll get some of these more sort of vegetable-y parts cooking
Yep.
in the curry.
And that's chicken stock, is that going in there?
That's a bit of rabbit stock from the
rabbit
frames
stock.
earlier, yeah.
Nice. So with the rabbit stock, the mushrooms, the shrimp paste, the fish sauce, we're just building up all those layers of different umami flavorings, right?
Yeah, getting that real depth of flavour that we're all looking for.
Yep.
So it's going to start off on the sort of slightly wet side, and as we go through it, we're going to eventually thicken it up with this, which is some roasted rice powder. So all those vegetables are fairly cooked now, and we're just going to start building up the seasoning with a bit of the fermented fish sauce. If we need any more actual fish sauce, so para and nampla. If we want to make it a bit more spicy, we've got that there as well. And then once we'll start to finish it, thickening it up with the rice powder and the fresh herbs.
And that rabbit loin is just going to go in at the very end, is it?
Yeah, that'll go in right about now. So if you want to have a taste of this,
Yeah.
it's not even finished yet, but I think you can agree that's fairly umami-ful.
Wow, yeah. So the umami is like the first thing to hit,
Yeah.
and then the spice only comes like 3 or 4 seconds later.
Yeah.
And then just that combination of the spice and the umami just fills the whole mouth.
Yeah, and just keeps making it a bit moreish and moreish.
Yeah. So far, so good.
Cool. So a bit of para, which will give more umami, but also a little bit of like a bit of funk to it. Do you want it more spicy?
That's good for me.
That's good.
So I feel a lot of home cooks might, when you give someone fish sauce, typically they're a bit scared because it's quite pungent in its raw state. So they're a bit scared to add enough sometimes. So how do you obviously you're sort of freestyling this, or you've cooked this many times, but how do you sort of negotiate not over seasoning things?
I guess in the same way that you use salt, like as we were saying before, like once you start to have, even though this has a slightly pungent smell, once you start to add it to all those other aromatic ingredients, that's not really the flavour that's coming through.
Sure.
It's more the umami and saltiness. So I think just sort of starting light and making sure you don't give too much of it.
And then tasting always should go along.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're going to finish with lots of the herbs, vegetables and flowers. And some of the roasted rice powder to help thicken it up. Just want it to be that slightly like sort of sticky texture.
Yeah.
Sort of like really coats the mouth.
And you said you toast that rice with a bit of the galangal and lemongrass ends.
Yeah, just to clean the flavour a little bit. You also get quite a lot of, although we only add a little bit of that to this curry, you get a nice nutty flavour from it.
This looks so good.
Cool. Garnish with a little bit of the roasted rice. A little mixture of coriander and spring onion. And then some herbs and stuff to snack on the side.
Finished?
I think so, yeah.
Phenomenal.
A bit of buzz button. All right, have a try.
So good. It's so complex.
Yeah, really coats the mouth.
Yeah.
Even like the umami in it, sort of with the texture of this curry, like really coats the mouth a lot.
And then you have all of this freshness from the herbs, the cooked ones and the fresh ones, just lifting the whole thing. Top job. So we've seen that in Thai cuisine, there's all of these really complex umami seasonings, which come from the breakdown of proteins into these glutamates. And Mark has made this incredible, beautiful, complex dish for us here today that showcase a lot of those.